You're listening to Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. Our show provides listeners with an insider perspective of Texas A&M athletics and its greatest supporters. This podcast will bring you exclusive interviews with coaches, athletes, donors, and the dedicated staff of Aggie Athletics and the 12th Man Foundation. You ready? Let's dive into today's episode. Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Answering the Call podcast, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. This is your host, Ivy Robinson, and today I am in studio with Texas A&M Basketball student athlete Zhuric Phelps. Thank you for joining us on the show today, Zhuric.
Thank you for having me.
All right, before we dive into questions, Zhuric, can you just first introduce yourself to our listeners by telling us where you're from and how about a unique fact about yourself?
I'm Zhuric Phelps. I'm from Midland, Texas, born and raised. Unique fact about me right now, I'm trying to get into fishing, I guess.
Fishing, cool. Yeah. Did someone introduce that to you, or what made you want to take up that?
Henry Coleman brought up the idea.
Okay.
He's a big fisher. Hopefully soon I get to go out there with him.
That's really fun. You'll have to keep us updated on the fishing.
Yeah.
Tell me about Midland and why you liked growing up there.
I like growing up there because it was small. Most of everybody knew each other. I have really close friends that I grew up with there, and I don't think I would be able to really hone in on that friendship if I was in a bigger city. So I really appreciate living in Midland for that. But yeah, it's West Texas, far out west, so it's not green over there. It's a lot of dirt. So
I've never been to Midland, but I've heard it's just there's dust storms.
Yeah, dry.
Very dry.
Yeah.
My mother actually grew up in the Midland, Odessa area, and she has lots of memories of the dust storms and putting tape around her childhood bedroom window so the dust wouldn't come in and get into her room. But
sure.
Midland. Okay, if someone was going to Midland for the first time and you had to recommend a restaurant or something fun to do in Midland, what would be your recommendation?
Something fun to do. You probably have to catch a Midland Lee. Well, it's not Lee anymore. It's Legacy. Midland Legacy and then Permian game. It's a big rivalry. So that would probably be the biggest event probably in Midland. So
yeah. All right. So you grew up in Midland, but I know that you went to Duncanville High School. So tell me about your journey to Duncanville.
So my first 2 years of high school in Midland, I went to Midland Lee. It's called Legacy now, but I went to Midland Lee. And then my sophomore year, my parents felt like it was right to, move from Midland, just better opportunities for me and my younger brother. So we happened to move to Duncanville, and, we had to go to school at Duncanville. I loved going to Duncanville. Coach Peavy and, guys like that, they really changed my life, and I wouldn't be here without them. So it was a great opportunity, great experience.
Tell me more about your family. You mentioned your younger brother.
Yeah. So my younger brother, his name's Evan. We actually played him this year, the second game of the season. He goes to East Texas A&M.
No way.
Yeah, that was my second time. That was my second time playing him. I played him last year at SMU, so it was a really cool experience playing against him. And I have an older brother named Brian. He's a pastor. He has his own church and stuff like that in Dallas. And I have two sisters, Chelsea and Chrissy. Without them, I'm not here. So, and then my dad, he actually played basketball at Texas Tech. We played Tech not too long ago, so he was pumped about that game.
Oh, I bet he was.
Yeah, a lot of his old teammates from Tech went to the game, so it was a cool experience.
That's really neat.
And then my mom, Angela Phelps, she actually went here too, the A&M. She's the person of the house, I guess. She hold it down, so shout out to my mom. All
right, so she came to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Did that play a big part in your decision of why you transferred?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Coming to A&M, we felt like it was the best move just from being familiar with it, especially, and then, building that relationship with Coach Buzz. Everybody had great things to say about him. Just talking to him, it reflected, their words. So it was an easy transition, an easy school and, staff and team to pick.
I want to come back to just the whole thought process of why you wanted to come to Texas A&M. But a few more questions for you just related to high school. I know you were named Mr. Basketball in the state of Texas after leading Duncanville High School to the state title and earning tournament MVP honors. What was that moment like for you, and how did it feel to achieve that accolade?
It was amazing, especially coming from Midland. Not too many people play basketball from there, mainly football. So it was a blessing just to get that award, and it meant something for me and my people back home. So just winning that and being named Mr. Texas, it was just a blessing.
So Zurich, was basketball the first sport you ever played?
Yeah, I started when I was 5, but I was also playing football at the same time. I stopped playing football around 8th grade, but, for the majority of the years, it was basketball, yeah.
And was it always the sport you just loved the most?
Yeah. I kind of started to, really fall in love with it when I quit football. I got to focus on it more and actually develop to the player that I wanted to be.
So you mentioned earlier that your dad played basketball at Texas Tech.
Right.
Did that influence your decision or desire to want to pursue basketball in college, knowing that your dad played?
Yeah, it was always, a thing that I thought was pretty cool. Growing up, you have somebody who's your father, playing at the highest level. So I thought it was pretty cool. And that was something I wanted to achieve as well, especially growing up and actually falling in love with the game. And it got to a point where it wasn't I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps, but he introduced me to something and I began to love it. So he does play a big part in why I do play basketball, though.
Can you expand on that a little bit? What are your other... So he's a big why, and then what else?
My family is my why, and really Midland, back home, my city. Not too many people, get to do what I'm doing, and I'm able to show them that this is possible. So I just try to do the things that I know that I can do on this platform to, reach out to kids to Midland to show them that you're able to do this as well.
Thinking back to young Zhuric Phelps, young basketball player who's learning the game and growing up, did your dad teach you anything specific, like a motto or something about the game that really drives you and helps you stay motivated or focused today?
Yeah, just growing up, he really just taught me the fundamentals of basketball, just from dribbling the ball to knowing how your pivot foot works and things like that. I think his main thing for me was just to defend. The young age, we really harped on just defending and staying in front of a defender and things like that. And I feel like that's one of my best attributes as well as, defending. So that was one thing that he really stuck in my brother's head that, we have to defend to, stay in the game. So I'll say that's one thing.
It's a saying that goes, offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so Zurich, can you pinpoint the moment that you decided you wanted to pursue basketball in college?
I think when I started playing AAU basketball in Dallas and playing against guys like Wade and Manny, my Coach TJ, he actually found me, from Midland and things like that, and he wanted me to be on his team, and I started playing in Dallas, AAU tournaments and things like that, and, traveling across the world playing, and when I knew I was, able to compete with these guys playing, I knew that I had a real shot at playing Division I. And then when that first began, it was at any level. So I think my first offer was New Mexico, and that's when I really thought I was going to be able to play at the next level.
So you landed at SMU, and you played for the Mustangs for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your decision on why you came to Texas A&M. Walk us through the thought process when you made that decision. What was going through your mind after you completed those 3 seasons at SMU, and what really drew you to Texas A&M?
Just the culture and Coach Buzz, really. Coach Buzz is all about winning. That's what I wanted to do for my last year, is just to win, be around a team that's done it before, that has that experience, and where I can help them, When I saw that opportunity and what Coach Buzz could do for me on and off the court, it was a no-brainer to come here.
When you were at SMU watching Aggie basketball, I'm sure you kept up with it a little bit, watching or knowing that you played against Manny and Wade, and you knew those guys.
Yeah.
What was your perspective as an outsider of the program? What did you think about it?
As an outsider, it was, just 2 of my friends playing for A&M and, me just watching them throughout the years. But I also knew, who A&M was. I played them for 2 years, my sophomore and junior year, so I was a bit familiar with it already. And I know what A&M, brings to the table, especially as a basketball program, and who Coach Buzz is and how he develops players and things like that. So just as an outsider, I knew that, A&M was one of the top schools in the Power Four conference.
Now that you're a part of the program, what have you enjoyed most about being here?
What I really enjoy about College Station is it's more peaceful. Kind of reminds me of Midland. I was in Dallas at SMU, so it was a bit fast and
Lots of traffic,
things like that. You don't get that here. So that's one thing I really enjoy about being out here. And, just the school, too. It feels different from, being at SMU. Great people. There's great people at SMU as well, but you always want to be around great people in a great school. So I really enjoy that about A&M.
When you got here, what did some of the returners or veterans on this program, like Wade, Manny, Henry, what did they tell you when you got here officially as a part of the program?
It wasn't necessarily, just telling me anything. They were just welcoming me. They've made it comfortable for me with this transition. Moving isn't easy. We just treat it like it's a normal day, but it's really welcoming, especially, from Henry and Wade and Manny. I don't necessarily think it was them just telling me anything. They were just making sure, it was a easy transition for me.
That you got acclimated, that it was a smooth transition. How do you think your teammates would describe you?
Very chill, probably like always smiling.
Do you think you stay this calm under pressure, like in games as well, or?
I try to. Emotion does come out during the game sometimes, but for the most part, I do try to. But I think that's what they'll say about me. Just laid back, calm, competitive, I guess, from being on the court. So.
And how would you describe the culture of the team?
I'd say the culture here is just being true to who you are. Build on your habits. I guess I put it like this. So we have a foundation of who we are, and we want to be who we are every day, through our habits, our behaviors, and things like that. So I'll say the culture is mainly that, just staying true to us. Don't let outside noise in, and we feel like what we do on a day-to-day basis, and if we block out all the outside things and just be us, that pushes towards, the culture that we have and the success that we want. So.
Yeah. How do y'all block out the noise? Do y'all do anything specific to really stay focused? Like when you're in the middle of this, season, and I'm sure like social media and things can be a distraction, right?
Sure.
So do y'all do anything specific as a team to say, hey, we're going to block this out and we're not going to focus on this. We're going to focus on us and bettering ourselves each day?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily anything that we do specifically. We talk about it for sure. This starts in the off season, just being with each other, building that chemistry and bonding with one another. And the things we do in the off season isn't easy. So, just being together during those times, we feel like we can do anything, to be honest. Especially, building that culture, like you said, and building who we are has led us to block out that noise. So I feel like that's the biggest thing to how we do that, because we're with each other every day and there's nobody but us. So we know that, and we've actually, been through things together even before playing. So I think that was the way that we block out the noise, for sure.
Yeah, just depending and leaning on each other and
for sure.
Making the team your main focus.
Yeah.
Like building those relationships with your teammates. Yeah.
For sure.
If a young recruit is considering Texas A&M basketball, what would you say to convince them that this is a phenomenal program to be a part of?
I'll tell them you won't be the same person when you came in as when you leave. And that's from a positive standpoint, especially because who Coach Buzz is. He really cares about what you're doing down the line in a few years and the person you're going to be. You're going to be around a coach that's, going to pick up the phone when you need them, and somebody that's going to impact your life in a positive way. When recruits come, I'm pretty sure they all do their homework, with their families. I know I did that with my parents. So you know enough about basketball. I think it's more than on the court. It's about who you want to play for, who you want to, develop you into a man, because you coming into college as a kid and then you transition into an adult. So you're going to be around somebody 24/7 that's going to impact your life. So it's about the kind of person you want to be around. And Coach Buzz, he's great, man. I don't think there's no one like him. You can't really explain who Coach Buzz is. You just always have great things to say about him. So I think that would be my pitch to a recruit. It's just who you really come in to play for. If you weren't good, Coach Buzz wouldn't recruit you anyway. So that's not the problem. It's just, who you want to play for.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to transform both as a basketball player and as an individual in this program.
No doubt.
That's priceless, right?
Yeah.
Zhuric, what's your major? What are you studying at Texas A&M?
Race, gender, and ethics, and I minor in psych.
Good for you. Nice.
Yeah.
I actually saw you also recently ordered your Aggie ring.
Yeah, I did.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Tell us what that moment was like for you.
It was pretty cool. Like I said, school is kind of like the team, got a certain culture, and that's one thing I've been loving about, this school is the culture and, what comes with it and just the support around this school. So it was a cool moment. And I got to do it with three of my teammates, Manny, Jason, Jay Lee. So
yeah. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
How do you balance the demands of being both a student at Texas A&M, you've got classes to keep up with, assignments to turn in, and the demands of being an athlete as well? Yeah. Have you found the perfect balance of managing it all?
Yeah, I have. Shout out to Macy Richards, though. She's our advisor. She helps us school 24/7, making sure we're doing the right things and where we need to be. Without her, I don't think we'll function right, from being student athletes. So, it's challenging, but you can get through it. If you need help, anybody will help you here. So it ain't been too bad.
Zhuric, do you hold any personal mottos or values that you live by day to day?
I have seen this one thing that I've kind of been sticking to is be afraid, but do it anyway. I kind of been living by that since I saw it. And I think it's true. There's a lot of things that people want to do in this world, but, are too afraid or too nervous to do it. But you should just do it anyway. It ain't going to be a failure in a sense. I think it would be more of a lesson. So
That's impactful.
I think you should just do it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Being fearful holds you back, right?
Yeah,
and it's
sure.
easy to be suppressed by that. But like you said, be afraid, do it anyway, because you would never know. If you didn't do it, you would never know if you can achieve something great or you'll regret it. So like that. Do you enjoy doing anything specific in your free time? Like when you're not in the gym, not working out, not at a game? Who is Zhuric Phelps outside of basketball?
On my free time, really, right now, I just like to chill at the house. I have a dog named Astro, so I just hang out with him for the most part on my free time.
How long have you had Astro?
A year and some change now. I got him last year in November.
So Jace Carter came on this podcast and he talked about his dog, Layla, and how he
has two now.
Oh, two. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Nice. 2 dogs now. So do y'all walk your dogs together?
My dog can't walk too far. He's a French bulldog, so the sun and things like that. He hard of breathing and stuff like that. So
yes.
We limit his walks. So
okay, yeah. So no super long mile walks for Astro.
They haven't played with each other. My dog haven't seen Jason's dog, but I wouldn't mind them, playing and stuff. So
dogs are the best. I have a mini schnauzer, so quite a bit different than a bulldog, but she's very vocal. She likes to bark at everything.
Yeah, I kind of want another dog too, like a Bernedoodle. That was the first dog I wanted, but it was gonna get too big.
I've seen photos of those dogs. They are precious.
Yeah, they're huge, though.
Super curly hair. Yeah. Do you have any pregame routines that you have to do before you take the court?
I guess, yeah. I work out before we all warm up with Coach Beatty. So I do that every game. Well, every home game. I can't really do it away games, but for a home game ritual, I guess that's one thing I do.
That's interesting to me.
consistent.
You get a
with it.
workout in before the game.
Yeah. Just like a 30-minute one, not too crazy.
To get the blood moving, heart pumping. Yeah. All right, Zhuric, I want to change the topic to something a little different. So, Zhuric, the 12-Man Foundation, it has significantly increased its philanthropic annual fundraising efforts to help create marketing opportunities for Aggie student athletes like yourself and promote our organization's mission. Unrestricted annual fund dollars help support these marketing opportunities. And a perfect example of these opportunities is you being able to appear on this podcast today and leverage your NIL. So can you share really quickly how NIL has personally impacted your life?
NIL has definitely, impacted my life in a positive way. And I have nobody to thank but the foundation helping us, 24/7. Big shout out to them. It's not possible without them, and the things that we, try to do. So, just being on here, it's a blessing, and that I could do it for them, and, because they've been helping me is also a blessing. And I appreciate for y'all having me and, the foundation supporting this as well.
And staying on that note of support, 12-Man Foundation donors, their contributions help provide many resources that Aggie student athletes have access to, such as sports medicine, mental health, nutrition, facilities, academic support. Like you mentioned earlier, all of that is made possible through their contributions. And many of those people who give back to help create those resources and offer those resources to Aggie student athletes are listening to this episode today. So what would be your message of gratitude to them?
Thank you first. Without y'all, this is impossible, especially for the resources that we have. I don't think we can say it enough to the 12-Man Foundation and the donors, but we really do appreciate you. I think I speak for every student athlete. So we really appreciate y'all. We're going to keep playing hard for y'all guys.
Do you think, Zhuric, NIL opportunities have opened any unexpected doors for you, maybe beyond financial gain?
I guess it's not necessarily from like NIL, but, just connecting with the kids during the Buzzers Bunch is something I really enjoyed. Who we are, as a staff and a team, we're truly blessed, and, not so many kids get the blessings that we have. So, just being around them and spending the day with them and just being around them it was amazing.
So for those who are listening and don't know about Buzz's Bunch, can you explain what that is?
Buzz's Bunch is just like a camp, for special needs and things like that. They just come spend a day with us at Reed Arena. Yeah, they get to do cool events, get to see Coach Buzz, take pictures with Coach Buzz, get a tour around the facility. They just enjoying that time just being around us and, getting that experience that they don't really get every day. So
that's a really neat experience, and being able to give back in that way and serve the local community. And I'm sure those kids are just, it's the best day ever for them,
for
right?
Sure. For sure.
What a awesome way to be a light and just encourage them, and it's great. What would you say are your future goals beyond your time at Texas A&M?
For one, I always dreamed of playing the NBA, giving back to my community, Midland, just show kids that it's possible. So whatever I can do to show them that, hopefully I can do that in the future. And I don't know what my third goal would be. I guess just owning a business as well, just helping out, things like that.
Yeah, okay. You've got some entrepreneurial goals there. Yeah. What inspired you to maybe do that one day?
To be honest, I just don't want to work for nobody. So
you want to be your own boss.
And I feel like I could do it. Nothing is easy. So like I said, be scared and do it anyway. That's something I've been wanting to do for a few years. So yeah, the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan. So it would be pretty cool if I got to play for them.
And then what legacy do you hope to leave within the Aggie basketball program when you leave this university one day?
Just people remembering me, of player I was, but mostly the person I am, how I carry myself on a day-to-day basis. Just people talking about me in a positive way. Things I've done outside of the court. It don't really matter what I did on the court. just people think of me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just the person I am trying to be and I am becoming.
What are some of the ways you have made an impact off the court, maybe locally in the Bryan College Station community or maybe back in Midland or Duncanville?
I've been doing like camps back home, in Midland, just showing my way of giving back, giving kids an opportunity just to play basketball. They probably don't get to play basketball every day. So, just giving that opportunity and having fun and enjoying the experience of just playing basketball and being with others that like playing basketball. That was something I wanted to do back in Midland. But, hopefully I could do more to, give back to people in College Station, Duncanville, and Midland. So I guess you can add that to the goals as well.
That's awesome. All right. Finally, Zhuric, to wrap up today, why are you proud to be an Aggie?
I'm proud to be an Aggie because A&M has showed me different opportunities and just ways of life. I think, coming here, I definitely was a different person than I am now. And that was for the better, just positively. So I think that's what it means to be an Aggie. Just you get to be your true self here. You also just leave positive impacts on people's lives, throughout College Station, Bryan, and things like that. So I think it's just opportunities that, A&M and being an Aggie gives you. So
Zhuric Phelps on Answering the Call podcast. Zhuric, thank you again for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. A special shout out to our incredible podcast producer, Megan Hoffman, to 12th Man Productions and Texas A&M Athletics NIL Department. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to every donor and season ticket holder for always answering the call through loyal support of Texas A&M Athletics and our student athletes. We will be back soon with more content. Thanks, and gig 'em.